Captain Suho stood very still in the great hall of the Galactic Council. The room was bigger than any building on Earth. Strange lights floated in the air above him. Around him stood creatures from 100 different worlds. Some had too many eyes. Some had no eyes at all. Some floated. Some crawled. All of them looked at the small group of humans like they were looking at insects. 3 years had passed since first contact. 3 years since humanity learned they were not alone in the universe. 3 years of trying to prove themselves worthy of a seat at this table. It was not going well. "The human delegation may speak," said the council speaker, a tall being made of what looked like living crystal. Its voice rang like bells in the massive chamber. Ambassador Yuna stepped forward. She was a small woman with kind eyes and gray hair. She had spent 30 years as a diplomat on Earth before anyone knew aliens existed. Now she represented all of humanity to the stars. "Thank you, honored speaker," Yuna said. Her voice was soft but clear. "We come again to request full membership in the Galactic Council. We offer our friendship, our trade, and our promise of peace." Laughter came from the Talvek section. The Talvek were massive creatures, each one standing 3 meters tall. They looked like insects made of black armor. Their eyes glowed red in the dim light of the chamber. Counselor Dreth, the Tolvek representative, rose from his seat. His voice was like rocks grinding together. "Friendship, peace." He made a sound that might have been amusement. "These soft creatures speak of peace because they are too weak for war." Suho felt his jaw tighten. He kept his face calm. That was his job. Stay calm. Look peaceful. Look harmless. "The humans are persistence hunters," Dreth continued, addressing the full council. "We have studied their history. Long ago, they chased animals until those animals died from exhaustion. A hunting method for the weak. For those without claws or venom or speed," he clicked his massive mandibles. "They are predators who forgot how to hunt. They are soft. They care too much for their young. They form attachments that make them weak. They show mercy to enemies." He said the word mercy like it was a disease. "They are no threat to anyone. They are barely worth noticing." The Omirian scholars, floating spheres of light and gas, pulsed in agreement. "Our calculations confirm this assessment," one of them said in a voice like wind through pipes. "Human physiology shows significant defensive capabilities, but their psychological profile indicates extreme reluctance to use violence. They are not apex predators. They are prey that learn tricks." Yuna kept smiling. She had heard all of this before. Every meeting, the same insults. The same dismissal. "We do not wish to be threats," she said calmly. "We wish to be friends and partners." More laughter from various species around the chamber. Suho looked at the other human delegates. Lieutenant Nari stood behind the ambassador, her face perfectly blank. She was young, barely 30, but she was one of Earth's best military strategists. Right now, she was pretending to be a simple aide. That was the game they played. Look weak. Look harmless. Let them underestimate you. But Suho could see Nari's hands. They were clenched into fists at her sides. Later, on the Earth vessel Horizon's Edge, Suho found Nari in the communications room. She was staring at a screen filled with encrypted data. "You received another message?" Suho said. It was not a question. Nari nodded. "From my brother." "From Doyan?" Suho knew about Doyan. The young scientist had been working on something classified for 5 years. Something called Protocol Fenrir. Suho did not know what it was. He was not sure he wanted to know. "What does he say?" Nari was quiet for a long moment. "He says it is ready. Whatever we need, whenever we need it." She turned to look at Suho. Her eyes were hard. "He asks if we are sure we want this. He says once we use it, we cannot take it back. The galaxy will never see us the same way." Suho thought about the council chamber, the laughter, the contempt. Part of him wanted to show them. Part of him wanted them to understand that humans were not prey, that the softness they saw was a choice, not a weakness, but a larger part of him hoped they would never have to prove it. Tell him to keep it ready, Suho said, and pray we never have to use it. On Earth, Doyan read his sister's reply. He was a thin young man with gentle eyes and hands that were always busy. Right now, those hands were shaking slightly. Around him, screens showed data from 100 different military and scientific projects. Protocol Fenrir was not one weapon or one plan. It was the answer to a simple question. What happens when humanity stops pretending to be civilized? Doyan had spent 5 years finding the answer. He had studied every war in human history, every atrocity, every moment when the thin layer of civilization cracked and something older came out. Something that had kept humanity alive through ice ages and famines and predators with teeth longer than human arms. The wolf, some called it. The beast. The monster under the skin. Every human had it. Every single one. They spent their whole lives learning to control it, to cage it, to pretend it did not exist. They taught their children kindness and mercy, because without those lessons, the wolf would come out. And when the wolf came out, nothing survived. Protocol Fenrir was simple. It was permission. Permission to stop pretending. Permission to be what humans really were. Doyan hoped it would stay locked forever in the council chamber. The session was ending when the alarms began. Red lights flashed across the ceiling. The crystal speaker's voice cut through the sudden chaos. Emergency transmission from the outer systems. Priority 1. All council members will remain. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed a star map. 12 worlds were highlighted in red. And moving toward them, a massive dark cloud that seemed to eat the light around it. The HFY swarm, someone whispered. The word spread through the chamber like a disease. HFY. HFY. HFY Suho did not know the name, but he saw the reaction. The mighty Talvek, 3 meters of armored death, stepped backward in fear. The Omirian scholars flickered and dimmed. Ancient species that had conquered stars, looked at that dark cloud and trembled. What is the HFY swarm? Yuna asked quietly. Counselor Dreth answered. For the first time, his voice held no contempt, only fear. The end, he said. They are the end of everything. They cannot be stopped. They cannot be reasoned with. They only consume. He looked at the humans with something almost like pity. Your soft hearts will break when you see what comes next. 12 worlds will die. 4 billion lives will end. And there's nothing anyone can do. Suho looked at Nari. She was already reaching for her communicator. The time for pretending might be ending. The council chamber had become a place of fear. Suho watched as the most powerful species in the galaxy fell apart in front of him. Creatures that had looked at humans with contempt now ran in circles, their voices high with panic. The hologram in the center of the room showed more details now. The HFY swarm was massive. Billions of organisms moving together like one hungry cloud. They ate everything. Metal, stone, flesh, energy. They left nothing behind but empty space. How long? Someone asked. 17 days until they reached the first colony world, the speaker answered. Its crystal body had gone dark with stress. 23 days until they consume all 12 worlds. 4 billion lives, Yuna whispered. She looked sick. Fleet Admiral Taiho had joined them. Via hologram from the horizon's edge. He was an old soldier with white hair and calm eyes. He had fought in 3 wars on Earth before first contact. He had hoped those wars would be his last. What forces can we send to stop them? Counselor Dreth made a harsh sound. Stop them. You do not stop the HFY. You run. You hide. You pray they do not find you. But the colonies are dead already. Dreth's red eyes showed no emotion now, just cold acceptance. We will begin evacuation of those who can be saved. Perhaps 10%. The rest will be consumed. Taiho's jaw tightened. You are going to abandon 4 billion people? We are going to save who we can. The Talvek fleet will not engage the swarm. We will protect our homeworld. Dreth looked at the other council members. This is the only logical choice. The Kethver destroyed the Velinari Empire 10,000 years ago. The Velinari were greater than all of us combined. They are gone now. Nothing remains but ruins. The Omirian scholars pulsed in agreement. Our calculations show zero probability of military victory. The optimal strategy is strategic retreat and species preservation. One by one, the other species agreed. The fleets would withdraw. The colonies would be abandoned. 4 billion people would die so that others might live. Suho felt something cold settle in his chest. He had served in the military for 20 years. He had seen bad decisions before, but this? Giving up without even trying? This is wrong, he said quietly. Dreth turned to look at him. The soft predator speaks of right and wrong, how touching. Or morality will not stop the swarm, human, nothing will. You could fight, you could die, uselessly, meaninglessly. Dreth's voice was almost kind now in a terrible way. Go home, little human. Hold your loved ones. Teach your children to run and hide. That is all any of us can do when the swarm comes. Yuna stepped forward. Her face was pale, but her voice was steady. And if we choose to fight anyway? The chamber went quiet. Every alien I turned to the small human woman. Then you will die, Dreth said simply. And the galaxy will have one less soft species to worry about. The council session ended. Species returned to their ships. Fleets began moving toward homeworlds. The evacuation of the colonies started, but everyone knew it was mostly for show. There was not enough time, not enough ships, not enough hope. On the horizon's edge, the human delegation gathered in the main conference room. Taiho joined them. In person now, his hologram replaced by his physical presence. What are our options? Yuna asked. Taiho pulled up a display. Earth's full military force, 700 ships, 50,000 soldiers ready for space combat, another 2 million on standby. Against billions of Kethver organisms, Nari said quietly. Yes. Suho looked at the numbers. It was suicide. Pure and simple suicide? We could save more people, he said slowly. If we used our ships for evacuation instead of combat, we could maybe save another 1,000,000 lives. 1,000,000 out of 4 billion, Taiho said. 0.025%. The room was silent. Then Yuna spoke. What is Protocol Fenrir? Everyone looked at her. Nari went very still. I am not a fool, Yuna continued. I know something has been happening. Secret projects, classified communications. I am the ambassador. I need to know what tools we have. Taiho and Nari exchanged a look. Then the Admiral nodded. It's Protocol Fenrir, he said carefully, is what happens when we stop pretending. Pretending what? Pretending to be civilized. Pretending to be soft. Pretending that we have moved beyond what we were. Taiho's eyes were distant. Every human soldier is trained twice. First, we train them to fight. Then we train them to stop, to control themselves, to follow rules of engagement, to show mercy, to see enemies as people, he paused. Protocol Fenrir reverses the second training. It gives our soldiers permission to be what humans were for 100,000 years before we invented civilization. Yuna's face was pale. You mean we let the wolf out. Taiho pulled up another display. This one showed psychological profiles, combat data, historical analysis. Humans are not soft because we cannot be hard. We are soft because we choose to be. Because we remember what we are capable of, and it terrifies us. Every human being carries something inside them. Survival instinct that predates language, predates thought. Something that does not know mercy or fear or surrender. Something that only knows one thing: kill or be killed. Nari spoke up. My brother designed Fenrir. He studied every moment in history when humans let that thing out. Wars, genocides, last stands. Moments when normal people became monsters. Her voice was quiet. He found a way to wake it up on command, a way he hopes to put it back to sleep afterward. Suho felt cold. We're talking about turning our soldiers into what we really are, Taiho finished. And the galaxy thinks we are soft. They think we are weak. They have not seen what happens when humans have nothing left to lose. The room was silent for a long moment. Then Yuna took a deep breath. Contact Earth Command. I need to speak with General Hannah. The communication went through quickly. General Hannah appeared on screen, a woman in her 60s with iron gray hair and eyes that had seen too much. Ambassador Yuna, she said, I have been watching the council session. I know what you are going to ask. 4 billion lives, General. I know. Can Fenrir save them? Hannah was quiet for a moment. Maybe. Probably not all of them, but more than 0. She leaned forward. But you need to understand what you are asking. Once we do this, we cannot take it back. The galaxy will see what we truly are. They will never look at humanity the same way again. They will never trust us. They might even fear us enough to try to destroy us later. Yuna thought of Counselor Dreth, the contempt in his voice. The way he had called humans soft, like it was an insult. Right now, they do not respect us enough to fear us, she said. Maybe fear is better than contempt. Hannah nodded slowly. Then we do it. I will give the order. She paused. May God forgive us for what we are about to become. The transmission ended. Nari looked at her communicator. A message from Doyon. It begins. Across Earth, in military bases, in veterans' homes, in quiet apartments, certain people received a notification. Just 3 words. Fenrir is loose, and deep inside each of them, something very old began to wake up. The Galactic Council was gathering again. This time the humans had requested the session. The other species came out of curiosity more than respect. What could the soft creatures possibly want to say? Suho stood at the center of the chamber. Beside him, Yuna looked tired. She had not slept in 2 days. None of them had. You requested to speak, the crystal speaker said. The council listens. Yuna stepped forward. Her voice was different now. Harder. Colder. We are going to fight the Kethver swarm. Silence. Then Counselor Dreth laughed. It was a harsh, grinding sound. You are going to die, you mean, perhaps? But we will not abandon 4 billion lives without trying to save them. Dreth shook his massive head. Foolish. Emotional. This is exactly what we expect from soft creatures. You cannot accept reality. You let your feelings control you. Perhaps Yuna said again. But before we go, we want you to understand something. She turned to face the full council. Her eyes moved across every alien face. You have called us soft, weak, prey that learn tricks. You have laughed at our mercy and our kindness and our love for our children. She paused. We want you to know why we are these things. She nodded to Suho. He activated the holographic display. The first images appeared. Ancient images from Earth's history. Suho watched the aliens watch. 10,000 years ago, Yuna continued, humans discovered something terrible about themselves. The hologram showed a battlefield, bodies everywhere, humans killing other humans with stone weapons, with bronze swords, with bare hands. We are not soft by nature. We made ourselves soft. We had 2 more images. Armies marching, cities burning, mass graves. For most of our history, we were the most efficient killers on our planet. We hunted every other predator to extinction. We killed prey species until they disappeared forever. And when we ran out of animals to kill, the hologram showed more battles, more death. The images grew more recent, more terrible. We killed each other. The council watched in silence. Even Dreth had stopped laughing. We developed weapons specifically designed to cause maximum suffering, Yuna said. Her voice was flat now. Empty. We created poisons that melted flesh. Bombs that burned entire cities. Biological weapons that could kill millions in days. The hologram showed mushroom clouds, gas chambers, killing fields. We built death camps where we murdered millions. Of our own people because they looked different or believed different things. We tortured prisoners for information, for punishment, for entertainment. Yuna's hands were shaking slightly. We are not soft, Counselor Dreth. We are the most dangerous thing that has ever evolved on our world. Perhaps in this galaxy. Dreth's red eyes narrowed. Then why do you hide it? Why pretend to be weak? Suho answered. His voice was quiet. Because we hate what we are. He stepped forward next to Yuna. Every human being carries a monster inside them. We call it different things. The beast. The wolf. the darkness. It is a survival instinct that does not care about right or wrong. It only cares about winning. It's about surviving, about destroying anything that threatens us. More images. Soldiers with empty eyes, children holding weapons. The worst moments of human history laid bare. We spend our whole lives learning to control it, Suho continued. We teach our children kindness from the day they are born, create laws and religions and social rules, all designed to keep the monster caged. We celebrate mercy and peace and love because we know, deep down, how easy it would be to let the monster out. He looked directly at Dreth. You mock us for being soft, for caring about our young, for showing mercy to enemies. You do not understand. These are not weaknesses. They are chains. They are the cage we built for the monster inside us. Yuna spoke again. And now, for the first time in 300 years, we are going to open that cage. The chamber was utterly silent. Not because we want to, she said. We have worked so hard to be better, to be gentle, to be civilized. We wanted you to see us as friends, not as threats. Her voice cracked slightly. But you are going to let 4 billion people die because you think fighting is impossible. So we will show you what impossible looks like. On Earth, Doyen sat in the command center. Screens surrounded him, showing data from military bases around the world. The protocol Fenrir activation was proceeding. His hands moved across controls. His gentle eyes were focused, intense. Beside him, technicians monitored the psychological conditioning broadcasts. How many have activated, he asked. 70% of target population, a technician answered, rising fast. 70%. That meant over 100,000 soldiers had received the signal, had felt that old dark thing wake up inside them, had stopped being the civilized people they had trained so hard to become. Doyan thought of his sister, Nari. She was one of the strategic commanders now. She had not received the full Fenrir activation she needed to think clearly, to plan. But she would see what happened to those who did. He hoped she would forgive him for what he had. Created a message came through. Video from one of the military bases? Doyan opened it. A soldier stood in the frame. He was young, maybe 20. Yesterday, he had been a quiet man who liked poetry and took care of stray cats. Today, his eyes were different. Empty and full at the same time. We are ready, the soldier said. His voice was calm. To calm. Tell us where to go. Tell us what to kill. Doyon felt a chill run down his spine. This was what humans looked like when they stopped pretending. This was the thing that had made humanity the apex predator of Earth. Uploading coordinates now, he said. The Kethver swarm is 17 days from the first colony. You will intercept in 12 days, the soldier smiled. It was not a kind smile. They should have run when they had the chance. Back at the council, Yuna was finishing her speech. We do not ask for your help, she said. We do not expect it. We ask only that you watch. See what happens when humans stop being soft. She turned to leave. Then she stopped. One more thing, Counselor Dreth. You asked why we are so gentle with our young? So protective. So loving. She looked back at him. It is because we know what they will become if we are not. Every human child carries the same monster inside them. We love them fiercely because we are trying to teach that monster to sleep. She paused. Our children are not soft. They are wolves pretending to be sheep. And we have just given them permission to stop pretending. She walked out of the chamber. Suho followed. Behind them, the council sat in stunned silence. Dreth finally spoke. His voice was quieter now, almost uncertain. They are bluffing. They must be bluffing. No one answered. No one was sure anymore. The human fleet moved through space like a pack of wolves. 700 ships. Small compared to the Talvek armadas or the Omirian research vessels. Nothing compared to the Kethver swarm. But something was different about these ships. Now Counselor Dreth watched the sensor feeds from his flagship. The Talvek fleet had retreated to a safe distance, but they kept their sensors pointed at the humans. They wanted to see what would happen. They expected a quick defeat, a reminder of why fighting the swarm was pointless. Instead, they saw something that made their blood run cold. Commander Jiho led the first attack wing. He was a young man, barely 35, with a scar across his left cheek from a training accident years ago. Before Fenrir, he had been known for his careful tactics, his concern for his crew, his habit of calculating every risk. Now his eyes were different. The gentle commander was gone. Something older sat in his chair. First contact in 30 seconds, his tactical officer reported. Jiho smiled. It was not a nice smile. All wings, spread formation. We hunt. The word went out across the fleet. Not attack. Not engage. Hunt. The Kethfer swarm was massive billions of organisms, ranging from small drones the size of dogs to massive carrier beasts the size of mountains. They moved together with a hive mind, responding to threats instantly, coordinating without communication. They had never faced anything like humans before. Jiho's wing hit the swarm's flank first, but they did not attack directly. They struck, retreated, struck again, drew pieces of the swarm away from the main body. It was not military tactics. It was wolf tactics. Separate the prey from the herd. Tire them out. Make them bleed from 100 small wounds. The Kethfer did not know how to respond. They were used to enemies who formed lines and fought directly. Enemies who could be overwhelmed with numbers. But the humans did not fight like that. They fought like predators. Admiral Taiho watched from the command ship. Eternal Dawn. His voice was calm on the fleet channel. Remember what you are. You are the top of the food chain. You are what every other creature on Earth learned to fear. Tonight, we teach the stars why. On the sensor feeds, Dreth saw something impossible. Human ships taking damage that should destroy them and keeping fighting. Crews ejecting into space and somehow surviving. Soldiers laughing as they died, actually laughing because they were taking enemies with them. What are they doing? One of his officers whispered. They are not retreating, Dreth said slowly. They are not even trying to survive. They are just killing. The first hours of battle were chaos. The Kethfer lost millions of drones. The humans lost ships, 24 of them. But for every human ship that fell, it took hundreds of swarm organisms with it, and the humans did not stop. On the surface of the first colony world, Sergeant Era led a ground team. Evacuation was still ongoing. There were still 200,000 civilians waiting for ships. The Kethfer advanced scouts had already reached the planet. Era was a small woman with short black hair and calm dark eyes. Before Fenrir, she had been known for her patience, her kindness to new recruits, her habit of sending letters to the families of fallen soldiers. Now she moved through the streets. Like death itself, her team was 12 soldiers. 12 humans against thousands of Kethfer drones. It should have been suicide. It was not. The Kethfer drones attacked in waves. They expected the humans to form defensive positions, to try to hold lines, to fight like prey. Instead, Era charged. Her team followed. 12 humans running toward thousands of enemies, screaming, not in fear. In something else, the drones faltered. They had never seen prey run toward them before. Era reached the first wave and began to kill. Her movements were fast, brutal, efficient. No wasted motion. No mercy. She took wounds that should have stopped her and kept moving. Blood ran down her face, and she smiled. Behind her, her team was the same. Soldiers who had spent years learning to control themselves, now unleashed everything they had been holding back. The drones broke. For the first time in recorded history, Kethfer organisms retreated from a ground engagement. Era did not let them go. She hunted them through the streets, block by block, building by building. She did not stop until the last drone was dead. Then she turned and walked back to the evacuation zone. Her uniform was torn and bloody. 3 of her soldiers were gone. The rest looked like they had walked through hell. A civilian child stared at her with wide eyes. Are you okay? Ara looked down at the child. For a moment, something human flickered in her eyes. She knelt down, putting herself at eye level. I am keeping you safe, she said softly. That is all that matters. Then she stood and went back to the perimeter. There were more drones coming. In space, the battle continued. Days passed. The Kethver swarm pushed forward, but slowly now. The human fleet was everywhere, harassing, striking, retreating, striking again. Jiho's wing had been reduced to half strength. He did not care. He sent his ships deeper into the swarm, targeting the larger organisms. The carriers and queens that coordinated the hive mind, you think you were the monsters here? He broadcast on all channels. He knew the swarm could not understand. He did not care. You eat worlds. You destroy civilizations. But you have never met us before. We are what monsters are afraid of. His ship took a direct hit. Alarms screamed. Fire filled the bridge. Jiho kept his hands on the controls. Kept his ship moving forward. Kept firing. Commander, we have to retreat. His officer shouted. Retreat is for prey, Jiho answered. We are not prey. His ship crashed into a Kethver carrier, both vessels exploding in a ball of fire. But Jiho had ejected at the last moment. He floated in space, wounded, dying. Watching the carrier burn, he was still smiling when the rescue team found him. Dreth watched all of this. Hours became days. Days became weeks. The swarm kept coming. The humans kept dying. But they kept killing more.
Ow!
They should have broken by now, Dreth said. His voice was quiet. Any species would have broken. The casualties are impossible. No one can sustain losses like this. His officer shook his head. They are not slowing down, counselor. If anything, they are fighting harder. Dreth thought about what Ambassador Yuna had said. About the wolf. About the cage. He thought about the images of human history, the wars, the genocides, the endless violence. He had thought it was exaggeration. Soft creatures trying to seem dangerous. He was wrong. They are not fighting to win, he realized slowly. They are fighting because they like it. The killing. The violence. They have been holding it back their whole lives, and now. He trailed off. Now they are free, his officer finished. On his screen, a human soldier with half her body burned charged a group of Kethver drones. She killed 3 before she fell. Another human soldier picked up her weapon and kept fighting. Dreth turned off the screen. He had seen enough. We underestimated them, he said quietly. All of us. The whole galaxy. We saw the cage and thought it was the creature. He looked at his officer. It was not. The cage was to protect us. And now it is open. His officer was silent. May the stars help us all, Dreth whispered. 11 months. That was how long the war lasted. 11 months of hunting. 11 months of blood and fire and death. 11 months of humans doing what they had spent 10,000 years learning not to do. The Kethver swarm was destroyed. Not defeated, not driven away. Destroyed. The humans hunted them across 14 systems. Through asteroid fields and gas clouds and dead space. They did not stop until the last organism was gone. Doyon watched the final battle from Earth. His screen showed a small cluster of Kethver queens. The last of their kind, surrounded by human ships. The queens tried to surrender. They broadcast signals of submission, offering to retreat, to leave, to never return. The humans did not accept. Doyon closed his eyes as the last queens died. It was necessary. He knew it was necessary. The Kethver would have regrown, returned, consumed more worlds. They had to be destroyed completely. But watching it still hurt. A message appeared on his screen. From Admiral Taiho, it is done. Begin recovery protocol. Recovery protocol. The second part of Fenrir. The part Doyon had worked on longest. Teaching the wolf to sleep again, it would not be easy. Some soldiers would never fully recover. Some had gone too deep into the darkness. Some had discovered they liked it there, but most would come back. Slowly, painfully, they would remember what they had done, and they would have to live with it. Doyon was not sure if that was mercy or cruelty. The Galactic Screw Council gathered 1 month later. This time, the chamber felt different. No one laughed at the human delegation. No one called them soft. Ambassador Yuna walked to the center of the chamber. She looked older than she had a year ago, tired, sad, but also proud. The Kethver swarm is gone, she said simply. All 12 colony worlds are safe. 3.8 billion people survived. 3.8 billion. They had lost 200 million, but they had saved the rest. We are here, Yuna continued, to discuss humanity's place in this council. Counselor Dreth rose. For a long moment, he just looked at the human ambassador. His red eyes showed no contempt now. No mockery. You're right, he said. His voice was heavy. We underestimated you. We saw your kindness and called it weakness. We saw your mercy and called it softness. We did not understand. He paused. The Talvek have watched your soldiers fight. We have seen things we cannot explain. Humans who should have died but kept fighting. Humans who laughed as they killed. Humans who showed no fear, no hesitation, no mercy. Looked around the chamber at the other species. We are the greatest warriors in this galaxy. We have conquered 100 worlds. But I tell you, Neph, the humans wish to conquer us, we would fall. They are not prey. They are not soft. They are something else. Something we do not have a word for. The chamber was silent. Dreth turned back to Yuna. The Talvek vote to grant humanity full council membership, a permanent seat on the security committee, and, he hesitated, our respect. You have earned it. One by one, the other species voted. All in favor. Humanity had its place among the stars. Captain Suho watched from the human section. Beside him, Nari stood quietly. Her eyes were distant. We won, Suho said softly. Yes, Nare's voice was flat. We won. That does not sound like victory. Nari looked at him. I watched soldiers I trained tear Kethver apart with their bare hands. I saw men and women I respected become something else. They were effective. Terrifyingly effective. But they were not human anymore. Not really. She looked down at her hands. Some of them will never come back. They tasted what it felt like to be the wolf, and they liked it too much to stop. Suho did not know what to say. He had stayed on the diplomatic side, away from the worst of the fighting. He had not seen what Nari had seen, but he understood the cost. After the council session, Nari took a shuttle back to Earth. She went straight from the spaceport to the military hospital where her brother waited. Doyon lay in a bed by the window. He had collapsed 3 months ago from exhaustion and stress. The doctor said he had pushed himself too hard, worked too many hours, carried too much weight. Nari knew the truth. Doyon had collapsed because he could not bear to watch anymore. Hey, she said softly, sitting beside his bed. Doyon opened his eyes. He looked thin and pale, but his gentle smile was back. That was something. Hey, I heard we won. We did. Nari took his hand. Full council membership. Security committee. Everything we wanted. Good. That is good. He was quiet for a moment. Did we do the right thing? Nari thought about the question. She thought about Sergeant Ara, who had died on the 7th colony world, holding a position so civilians could escape. She thought about Commander Jiho, now in rehabilitation, learning to be human again. She thought about all the soldiers who had let the wolf out, and were now trying to put it back. We saved almost 4 billion lives, she finally said, but they will never see us the same way. Again, no. They will not. Doyon looked out the window. The sun was setting over the city. People walked on the streets below, living their lives. Children played in a park. A couple held hands on a bench. Normal, peaceful, soft. Maybe that is okay, Nari said slowly. Maybe they finally see us for what we really are. Doyen turned back to look at her. And what is that? Nari thought for a long moment. People who choose to be good. Every day, we choose kindness. We choose mercy. We choose peace. Not because we have to. Not because we are weak. But because we know what happens when we stop choosing. She squeezed his hand. We are wolves who learn to love sheep. And that is the hardest thing in the universe to be. On the council station, Ambassador Yuna gave her final address before returning to Earth. "We will go back to being kind," she told the assembled species. "We will teach our children mercy. We will smile and negotiate and believe in peace, because that is who we choose to be." She paused, letting the silence stretch. "But remember this, we choose it. Every single day, we choose to be gentle. And if you ever force us to choose differently..." She did not finish. She did not need to. The council remembered. They would always remember now. On Earth, life returned to normal. Soldiers came home. Families reunited. The world moved on as it always did. But something had changed. In the way other species looked at humans. In the way humans looked at themselves. The wolf was sleeping again. The cage was closed. But everyone knew it was there now. Everyone knew what lived inside the kind smiles and gentle words and peaceful intentions. Suho returned to diplomatic work. Yuna retired to write her memoirs. Taiho quietly stepped down from command and spent his days teaching young soldiers how to control themselves. Jiho eventually recovered enough to leave the hospital. He never commanded again. He said he did not trust himself anymore. But sometimes, late at night, he looked up at the stars and remembered how it felt to be free. And Do-yeon went back to his lab.
Back to his research.
Back to his gentle life. But he kept Protocol Fenrir active, just in case. Just in case the galaxy ever forgot. Just in case the wolves ever needed to wake up again. The sun set on. Billions of humans went to sleep. They dreamed of peace and love and kindness. And somewhere deep inside each of them, the wolf dreamed too, waiting.